Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Detective Carroll, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
You bet.
Absolutely. I think it's up to all law enforcement, military, law enforcement. We swore to protect this country. This is what, and we're compensated for it. You know, I'm a Jersey City detective. On 9/11, I mean, we knew Plaza. I didn't know it was Plaza 7 at the time. Nobody. We just heard a building was definitely coming down. We ran out. We were just evacuated. But anybody that's not coming forward in law enforcement at this point is complicit after the fact. Would you agree with that?
No, I agree with you. Anybody who's seen the facts and who is in denial, and I've had so many police come up and shake my hand or wave or thank me when I'm down at Ground Zero, but then most of them don't want to go on camera. Some do now wave at us and give us thumbs up, even commanders, but they won't go on tape. And then there's always black op military stalking around in uniform giving us dirty looks, probably involved in the attacks. But again, they did that for America. You know, they staged the attack to make us grow up and get tough for our own good. You know, that's the sick attitude. It's so sick.
Well, Alex, I'm a trained professional, and I will protect myself and my family.
Absolutely. So I mean, specifically going back to that day, so the average fireman, the average emergency worker, the average police officer, you just heard, 7's coming down. You know, no big deal. 3 buildings, first time in history from fire. It's coming down. Get back.
Well, again, I'm not a structural engineer. We weren't aware of the vernacular, but we were told. I would say about an hour before. I think, and again, I'm Jersey City, so our communications, we're directly across the river. It was approximately an hour before that we were told to evacuate.
And specifically, what did you hear?
Just that a building was coming down. And we were Jersey City personnel, so we were just told to evacuate.
So on record, they knew Building 7 was coming down. And what is it like to hear all these or see all these video clips of police, firemen, emergency workers all saying that they were told, higher ups, that the feds were going to bring down Building 7, and then in hindsight, because that proves inside job, to see it all being denied?
Well, it's disheartening, but you have to put it in proper context. I mean, how do we move forward? And I think your show provides the apparatus to motivate us, and I think that's what we're doing. I think there's individuals like myself, and a lot of cops are listening right now too. Just so you know.
Well, I want to just beg them to have the courage to stand up and speak out. An investigation in New York or New Jersey by people inside the system could literally bring down the New World Order. If it comes out that it's an inside job, main line, they can't kill all of you, then this will bring down the New World Order. They cannot survive this. And I've risked my life, and many others have been killed to bring you this information. So I hope to God you'll have the courage to at least investigate what we're saying. Now specifically, in your own saga, trying to wake up your department, that's one of the reasons you're here today. Break that down. I mean, talk about whatever you want.
Well, what I've attempted to do, and now I haven't done this formally, so I want to be specific with that and be clear with it. I haven't put it on formally on paper, which, I mean, that's how you establish a paper trail as far as making a formal request. I'm walking a fine line here because they could bring charges against me, so I have to be very careful what I say. First of all, we're Jersey City. It's a hotbed of Middle Eastern people. It's a microcosm of all types of people in Jersey City. We really are a bouillabaisse, ethnic bouillabaisse here. But we don't have a terrorist task force, which is on to me. And when I try to I attempt to speak to people about the issue, there's some my fellow officers recoil from it, and I have no idea why they do that. And that's why I was wanted to ask you advice on how to present the information to them.
Well, I mean, I don't have all the answers, but first off, I would understand that they're in fear. Deep down, they know it's true. They're not stupid, and they want to hold on to their life. It's too scary to admit that there's this big evil power running the government that would do something like this, and they psychologically associate themselves with that wicked force. And so there's a lot of reasons down below the surface and the subconscious why they're doing that. But they need to understand that Gulf of Tonkin was staged, USS Liberty was staged, the NATO option, Operation Ajax, this is all admitted. Huge terror attacks staged. You can give them Northwoods, ABC News, plans to kill U.S. troops, plans to bomb U.S. cities and blame it on foreign enemies. And so first that this has gone on. And then I would just show them the clips of going, okay, why did they report that Building 7 was going to be brought down? And then later say that it was just fire that did it when no steel building had ever done this. And then here's Richard Gage's information. This needs to be looked into. And then I would give them the Keith Olbermann clip talking about Dick Cheney wanting to stage terror attacks against our own ships, the Cy Hirsch report on that, and then say, okay. And then I would also give them the polls showing the majority of Americans believe that there's a 9/11 cover-up.
Alex, I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but I mean, as a police officer, you reconcile your mortality pretty much on a daily basis. I really don't think it's a fear for their safety. I just believe it's more of that an emotional fear.
No, I agree. They've done studies. Stay there. We'll come back and talk about this. This is important, but I want to hear what you have to say, not just myself. It's easier to charge a machine gun nest to go against your peers. They found that in psychological studies. We'll be right back. All right, Detective John Carroll from Jersey City, New Jersey, is our guest. He was a first responder on the day of 9/11 and throughout the next few days, working there on the pile. And a lot of his cohorts listening right now. They're in his department. Look, sir, I mean, you know more about being a police officer than I do and how to deal with it. I would just tell these officers, look at $8.5 trillion stolen in 8 weeks and counting. The people that did this attack aren't going to stop. I mean, and now troops on the streets and all of that. I mean, we have been taken over by foreign corporate interests that are looting us. And, I mean, I guess they can just live in denial and they're going to lose everything they got. Because criminals that'll do something this big aren't going to stop. But, I mean, go ahead, make your points. Make your points of your awakening and where you see all this going.
Well, again, Alex, I'm not a professional orator. I mean, I find myself a fairly articulate person, but...
well, I'm not a professional orator either, but go ahead.
Well, you sure come off like one. But I think at the end of the day, to try to inspire people to move forward in general, not just police officers, they need to assimilate to what the reality is. And I think it's just at such a core level that the 9/11 issue is just such it redefines your existence. And I think that's the wall that I'm bouncing against. Now, for some reason, I could see through it, but I think that police are, we're authoritative. You become that over. I mean, I was never that type of guy to begin with. Excuse me, before I became a cop. But you sort of become that, and I think that insulates you even more so than a citizen. Not a citizen, you know what I mean. And
I understand the general public, the civilians.
Yeah, the civilians.
But the bottom line is, historically, police are one of the most abused groups by corrupt systems. And so police need to know, historically, you're not immune. In fact, you're going to get the dirty end of the stick generally.
Yeah, well,
I mean, did the New World Order? I mean, did the New World Order care about the cops and firemen when they blocked the treatment for the dust? When they told you the dust wasn't bad?
Well, I went for all the tests, and I'm healthy as a horse.
No, that's good, but it did kill a lot of people.
Yes, it did.
That's confirmed. I mean, Mount Sinai.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
And remember, the government tried to deny that for 4 years, but now they have all the CAT scans of thousands. Thousands are dead. So, good thing that didn't happen to you. Did you get a breathing mask pretty quick?
No, I pretty much had a spackle mask on the whole time.
Well, you were smart to have that, brother. That's probably what saved you.
Yeah. Getting back to the overlying point is that what happened here is so overwhelming that for the average human being to wrap their minds around it, that's where it becomes the issue. I think that's the core issue, and you speak to it so eloquently, and Trump, but it's just difficult for me to turn people on.
Well, here's an example. I knew 13 years ago when I got on air that most pork you buy at the store, raw pork, has live worms in it that will eat your brain.